This is V from a Canadian RVer. What I'm doing in this video is, well, I'm carrying on with our transporting our new e-bikes. And what I wanted to do is to be able to put them both in the back of the car in case we wanted to go to a trail and it was a little far to ride there. So I thought we would be able to put them both in the back of the car. But the problem is when the bikes fold up, they're just a little too wobbly still, unless you hold them together with either bungee cords or carpeting or tie wraps. So I thought, well, let me see if I can come up with something else. So this is what I'm going to do. As we do. So what we purchased was two 50-gallon totes from Lowe's, and it's their Craftsman brand. So what I'm going to do is I've measured the bikes and they should fit properly right in these two totes. Now you can see where both of the totes are fitting in the car, and I've just got the tops just sitting on the top here on both sides, and it's quite nice. So what I'm going to do is I will take these out and I'll have a look of how I can stabilize them. We'll try putting both bikes in the tote and putting the totes in the back of the car and see how things work out. So here we go. Next step is get the totes ready. I'm going to actually take both of the totes out from the car, as I showed you in the other video, and they're quite light, so you can take them out, put them down, and the nice thing about them is they also have wheels on the back here that you can move very simple. So there's one of them. Here's the other one. Like I said, this is the Craftsman brand at Lowe's, and what I'm going to do to stabilize them even more is the bike should fit in there, and we'll do a fold-up test and try that. But I think what I'm going to do to keep the lid, I think I'm just going to take this whole top part off and allowing the sides to still be there, and then try the bike and see how that works out. So that's the two totes. Next step is to router out. So here I've started actually routing out the top cover, and we'll do it nice and slow here. And what I'm using is a side cutter and a Dremel tool. Now what I've done is sped up the video just a little bit here so you can still see me cutting it out, but I thought speed it up a little bit, make it a little faster, and you'll see the end results. It was quite simple to do it with a sharp Dremel tool. You can go along really nice and tight to the edge and take all the burr off it also too. So now I've slowed it back down again to the normal speed, and you'll see the part will just fall right in. So there we go. We've got the top part already cut out. Now what I thought I would do here is I would just make some notches between the upper cover and the lower bin. And what I'm going to do this is to place some tie wraps through it so it all hold it together. And I did it in about 3 or 4 places between the top cover and the bottom ledge. one or two more places, still just to have a place for the tie wraps to go through. So here we go, our last one, and we'll be able to then start putting the tie wraps in. The trim of it, or the top of it, I routed some holes here, so what I'm going to do is I can now put a tie wrap through that just to hold the frame and the tub together and strengthen this whole thing all the way around. So tie wraps are a good idea, and you just put them down like that. The thing I'm going to do with these pieces that I cut out from the top here, that I routed out, I'm going to take a blade and just cut this right off here. And then what I'll do is this part I will put inside just to make it a little stronger. Just something for the bikes to sit on rather than just that one thin layer of plastic. So we're going to trim this down a bit and put it inside. What I'm doing with the bottom part, as you can see, one is in here already that we've trimmed it down and put it in there, which will just give the bikes a little more support in the plastic. So now what we're going to do is I'll show you how I cut the ends off, because the plastic is still quite brittle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a line up here and then just score it. That's all we're going to do there. And it's really simple. Just get a little space here. And then it just breaks right off. So that comes off pretty easy. Next thing we're going to do is just clean up the ends here. Because it seems that it needs to be perfectly fitted for it to go down the sides. And then what we'll do is just come over here. And that just goes right down in there just to give it a little extra support for the bikes. We'll be sitting on that part of the plastic too. So it just gives a little more rigidity, a little more strength. So the next step now would be trying to, we'll fold up one of the bikes and we'll try putting it into the tote. One more thing I'm going to do with all these tie wraps that I've actually put on here, and they're not totally done, but I want to show you. But what I'm using is a special tie wrap cutting tool, because if we're going to pick this thing up, and if you ever get your hands across a tie wrap that has any kind of a burr or something that's right here, it will just slice your hand wide open. So with this tool, what I'm doing is I can actually now, it does two things. It pulls the tie wrap tight, and I just have to move it up here all the way. Pull it up there, and then it pulls back, and you see it cuts it so clean. Our two totes, and they're already done. We've got the inserts, we've got them cut out, we've got the tie wraps on them. And the thing we're going to do right now is we're going to go over and take one of the bikes and see how it folds into the tote. So what we've done is folded up the bike, and we're just put it in the crate, and we'll leave that how you want to fold your bike up. So what we've done right now is we've also taken one of those red wedges and put it in right here, the parts that were left over when we cut out this part here. So we just put that in there just to keep it nice and tight so it doesn't vibrate. So now what we're going to do is just take the tote and we'll try putting it into the car. See how. So now what I'm doing is I've just now picked it up, and it's so nice to have the back wheels that you can move it for, you know, quite a distance, and move it wherever you have to put it. And it makes it a lot easier when you can use the wheels on the back of the tote. Now another way to do this is you can just leave it right there and pick up the one side with the wheels and put the wheels up on the car. And I was just seeing if I could do it with one person, basically myself, and just to see how that would load and feel like getting it in. So we just did one of the bikes just for a test, and the other one will fit beautifully right beside this one. And by rocking it, you can push it right into the back of the Equinox, and you'll have enough room for the second one. So this is V from a Canadian RVer. Hope you've enjoyed the video. But as we promised you, if you stay tuned, here's another use for the tote. If you have to move your wife, that works pretty good too. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in our next video.